During the morning meeting, I casually texted my online girlfriend. Help me, the new female CEO is incredibly gorgeous. After hitting send, I kept my head down, playing on my phone, when I suddenly felt a chilly gaze on me. Her inner thoughts: slacking off during work hours. Deduct $100 from his bonus. I gritted my teeth and immediately recalled the message praising her looks. Just then, a voice echoed in my head. Oh no, hubby, why did you recall the message? Don't tell me he's fallen for that female CEO? I snapped my head up, eyes wide. At the front of the room stood our new CEO, Valerie, with bold red lips and an icy, unreadable expression as she listened to a subordinate's report. I quickly sent another text. I had a tooth pulled yesterday. It hurts so much. Her sweet, whining inner voice immediately rang out. Hubby had a tooth pulled? Oh, my heart aches for him. I must send him some money to comfort him. My phone buzzed. I stared at the screen in shock. My account had just been credited with $15,000. Discovering that my online girlfriend of over 6 months was actually my company's cold-faced CEO didn't scare me. But realizing I could suddenly hear her inner thoughts, that absolutely terrified me. I hid in the restroom, staring at the money Valerie had sent, desperately trying to resist accepting it. She texted, "What's wrong, sweetie? Isn't your tooth hurting? Just take this cash and buy yourself something nice. Next week when we meet up, I'll treat you to a delicious meal." My heart ached. I replied, "Let's break up. You have 2 more teeth than I do. We're just not compatible." Before she could reply, I ruthlessly unfriended and blocked her. My God, it wasn't that I hated money. It was just that I was terrified of what would happen if the cold-faced CEO ever found out the truth. She would absolutely obliterate me. Why did I have to be this unlucky? Out of all the people online, my hard-won internet girlfriend turned out to be my boss. A woman whose face was as cold as a 10,000-year-old glacier. I decided to request a leave of absence. Just as I reached her office door, I heard her anguished inner thoughts. Why? Why does Kyle want to break up with me? What on earth did I do wrong? He said I have 2 more teeth than him? Fine. Then I'll just go get 2 teeth pulled too. On the inside, Valerie was absolutely losing her mind, but on the outside she remained icy, elegant, and aloof. I swallowed hard, more determined than ever to get my leave approved. Fortunately, she didn't notice my inner panic and signed the paper with a deeply gloomy expression. Standing in front of her desk, I heard her muttering in her head. Did I make Kyle angry? But I didn't do anything. What on earth did I do wrong? Why won't Kyle accept my friend request? CEO Valerie, I stammered nervously, my leave request. Valerie ignored me, her hand gripping my request form so tightly it crumpled in her palm. CEO Valerie, please don't crumple it. I'm scared. My apologies. Valerie used her neat, pale fingers to smooth out the paper. You said you need to see a doctor? Yes, I'm going in for hemorrhoid surgery. To get the longest leave possible, I threw all my dignity out the window. She frowned, waving me out. Before I shut the door, I heard her calling her assistant to schedule a dental extraction for tomorrow. A tear slipped down my cheek. For the sake of our 6 months of sweet memories, I ended up telling my best friend about her plans to get her teeth pulled. At a bar? What? You're telling me my aunt is going to get her teeth pulled because of some online boyfriend? No way! After I explained, my best friend, Leo, anxiously called his grandmother, the matriarch of the Vance family, and dramatically recounted the whole story, adding plenty of extra flair. Hanging up, he clapped my shoulder. Wait, why are you off work anyway? I'm heartbroken. A single sentence silenced him. Heartbroken? Wait, that's not right. Aren't you the eternal bachelor? What a waste of your handsome face. I fired back. That's only because I hadn't met the right person yet. Leo rolled his eyes. Feeling miserable, I grabbed my glass and downed the drink in one go. I hadn't planned on telling him the whole truth, but I forgot that I was a complete lightweight. One glass, and I was completely gone. Naturally, I spilled everything. Leo patted my face, looking both amused and exasperated. You're really something, Kyle. Your first online relationship is with my aunt, and you had the guts to dump her? I mumbled. Well, who told you to keep calling me an eternal bachelor? Even bachelors deserve a chance at love. Back when I graduated, Leo had pulled strings to get me a job at his family's company. I didn't have much ambition. With such a solid backer, I fully intended to coast through life. My schedule of working 6 days and resting one quickly turned into working 1 day and resting 6. Oh, you want to know about that one day I actually worked? Naturally, it was Monday. Just to look diligent in front of Valerie. Because she was absolutely ruthless when it came to docking pay. She came in every Monday for meetings, and that was the only day I took my job seriously. Because I slacked off so much, rumors started to circulate. Some colleagues complained that I got in through the back door. I would just play games on my phone and reply, actually, I walked right through the front door, proud and tall. Others accused me of trying to be a pretty boy in front of the female CEO. In response, I immediately showed off the transfer my online girlfriend had sent me, exactly $5,200. My coworker nearly blew a fuse. Pointing a finger at me, he yelled, I'm just sick of your face. We're all regular employees here, so why do you get to relax while we're stuck pulling miserable overtime? His outburst riled up the other overworked employees. I calmly replied, I know you have a hot temper, but you shouldn't make things up. Even though I was a slacker, I never actually missed a deadline. I threw a month's worth of flawless performance records right in their faces. Watching them choke on their words, I sat back down to slack off in peace. What can I say? To maintain my lazy reputation during the day, I had to work like a madman typing away at midnight. It was a habit from my school days, the toxic overachiever mindset that ran deep in my blood. Because I had so much free time, I had casually added a random person with a cute profile picture while browsing a social media app. After chatting for a month, we realized we clicked perfectly. My profile painted me as an innocent, starry-eyed college student, and I used every ounce of my limited knowledge to chat with her about everything from poetry to the philosophy of life. We had actually planned to meet in person soon. But then, that fateful meeting happened, and I started hearing her inner thoughts. So, you realized your online girlfriend was my aunt, lost your nerve, and immediately took a leave of absence? Leo summarized, looking at me. I slumped in my seat. Though I was pretty bold in real life, I was incredibly shy and soft-spoken online. Valerie had told me she loved my gentle, studious vibe. Little did she know, once I got offline, I was prone to chaotic outbursts. Leo told me not to worry. Honestly, if you become my uncle, that works for me. I can't stand any of those wealthy heirs my grandmother keeps trying to set her up with. I let out a bitter laugh. It's not that I don't want to marry into wealth, Leo. It's that your wealthy family won't like me. I recalled the early days of our relationship. I had been cornered in the break room by a coworker named Richard, who poured coffee all over me, ruining the new pants my online girlfriend had gifted me. Oh, my bad. I accidentally ruined your clothes, Richard said with a smug, mocking sneer. Oh, come on, Richard, another colleague chimed in. Don't sweat it. How much could Kyle's pants even cost? Right? I took a close look earlier. It's just a cheap knockoff of a designer brand. I brushed at the coffee stains, my heart aching. As Richard continued his mockery, I walked over, grabbed a cup of instant coffee from the counter, and dumped it right over his head. While he glared at me in shock, I ripped the designer tag off the back of my collar and slapped it onto his forehead. Are those 2 holes under your eyebrows just for decoration? Richard trembled, pointing at me. Where did you get the money to buy actual designer clothes? In truth, they knew the clothes were real. They just figured that since high-end brands are hard to identify once the tags are off, they could make me swallow my pride. They didn't expect that I never removed my tags. Why would I miss a golden opportunity to flex? Do you live by the ocean? Because you're acting way too salty. Pay up first, then we'll talk. Richard held up his hands. I don't have any money. Besides, it was an accident. I took a deep breath and screamed at the top of my lungs. Help! Workplace bullying. A bunch of veterans are bullying a handsome young graduate. Richard and his friends panicked, lunging to cover my mouth. I ducked, bolted out the door, and kept shouting, Is anyone going to do something? Bullying in the office. If I had one saving grace, it was my philosophy of living completely unfiltered. To survive, you can't let anyone walk all over you. But as I burst out of the break room, I slammed face first into something incredibly soft. I looked up to meet the suspicious gaze of our female CEO. I swallowed hard. Who knew she would break her schedule? Today wasn't even Monday. Our manager quickly dragged me away, laughing nervously, and explaining that I was just an inexperienced newcomer. Before leaving, Valerie issued a cold warning, damaging the company's image. Deduct half a month's salary. Richard looked absolutely ecstatic. I slumped at my desk, utterly defeated. Just as I was about to complain to my online girlfriend, a text from her popped up. Kyle, don't wear those pants I bought you anymore. I saw someone wearing the exact same pair today, and he looked like a goofy puppy. Nothing like my handsome, dashing Kyle. At the time, I hadn't thought much of it. I washed the pants and never wore them again. Now, thinking back, I broke out in a cold sweat. Fortunately, the photos I sent her were always mirror selfies with my face cropped out. If Valerie ever realized that her unbelievably handsome boyfriend was actually the goofy puppy from the break room, I would never get to slack off again. I drowned my sorrows in drink after drink, seriously contemplating resignation. Seeing how pathetic I looked, Leo decided to make a call. I thought he was calling a designated driver, but instead, he called in backup, Valerie. When Valerie arrived at the bar, in a sleek, form-fitting dress that highlighted her stunning curves, my mood sank even lower. Leo waved her over. Aunt Valerie, my buddy is completely wasted. Could you help me get him home? Valerie replied calmly, Sure, you shouldn't drink anymore either. Let me drive both of you. Without a second thought, Leo shoved me, as I feigned sleep, right into Valerie's arms. Falling against her, I felt her body go rigid, though she did her best not to push me away. Her inner thoughts, though she maintained the face of an ice queen, her inner voice was already whining. Oh, Kyle, please forgive me. I only touched another man out of absolute necessity. You're the only one I'll ever love. On the way back, Valerie grabbed my arm and, with a mix of polite disgust and care, stuffed me into the back seat. Once done, she aggressively sprayed her hands with sanitizer. Her inner thoughts, no, I need to go home and spray the perfume Kyle gave me. I must make sure I only smell like him. Hearing her inner thoughts, I gave up on life and just kept pretending to be asleep in the back seat. Leo nudged me from the side, whispering, Kyle, you coward! Make a move! I didn't listen. I kept playing dead. I literally called my aunt here. Just admit you're her online boyfriend. I ignored him, continuing my act. Leo gritted his teeth. Aunt Valerie, Kyle actually has something to tell you. I didn't actually get hemorrhoid surgery. I bolted upright, covering Leo's mouth and frantically signaling him with my eyes. Under their bewildered stares, the alcohol rushed to my head, and I blacked out for real. Aunt Valerie, can you help me? I can't carry him. When I semi-regained consciousness, Leo was dragging me toward my apartment, pulling me by the back of my collar like a sack of potatoes. I felt like the seat of my pants was about to wear through. Valerie, leaning against her car, watched us. I squinted slightly, catching her inner thoughts. If it were Kyle, I would absolutely carry him into my own house myself. Valerie's mind was a non-stop chatter of thoughts, all centered around me. Seeing her walk over, I quickly went limp again. "Let me," Valerie said, lifting me up. Leo followed behind. "Don't worry, buddy. I'll make sure you and my aunt get back together," he whispered in my ear while Valerie wasn't looking. I was so angry I wanted to kick his shins. I knew it. This guy was as strong as an ox. There was no way he couldn't carry a guy who barely weighed 120 pounds. He was clearly getting back at me for keeping my online relationship a secret. Leaning against Valerie, I expected to feel uncomfortable, but she was surprisingly soft. A faint scent of gardenia drifted off her, making me relax. I wanted to cry. If I had known, I would never have acted so chaotic at the office. Now, my online girlfriend was right in front of me, and I was too cowardly to confess. At my apartment door, Valerie set me down. "Leo, take care of him. I'll head back." "Wait, Aunt Valerie, you don't know. When Kyle gets drunk, he crawls around and climbs things like a monkey. It's terrifying. I can't handle him alone. Just put him in the bedroom first. I'll go make some hangover soup." Leo ignored Valerie's bizarre expression and unlocked my door with the keycard I had given him. Valerie supported my limp body, her face cold. Her inner thoughts? So this guy is actually just a complete idiot. Feeling like she was holding a hot potato, Valerie hesitated before saying, "Leo, I don't think this is a good idea. I still have work at the office." "What was that, Aunt Valerie?" Leo had already opened the door, only to be enthusiastically tackled by Dumpling. Okay, Dumpling. Your dad is drunk. Let him sleep first, and I'll play with you later." "Oh, Aunt Valerie, did you say you had work?" Valerie stood at the door, her eyes fixed on Dumpling, who was wagging his tail furiously. After a long pause, she said, "Never mind, let's go in." Wait. Why did her voice sound like she was smiling? Even the way she held me became much gentler. I broke out in a cold sweat, desperately trying to recall the details of our online romance. I had never sent her photos of Dumpling. Besides, all bitchins looked pretty much the same, right? Surely she couldn't recognize him? Valerie laid me on the bed, gently took off my shoes, and pulled up the blanket. I strained to hear her thoughts, but I couldn't catch a single word. Why did this superpower keep cutting out? She stood by the bed, silently staring down at me. Dumpling looked back and forth between us, before rubbing his head against Valerie's shin. I panicked, worried she might shoo him away. Just as I was about to open my eyes, her inner thoughts drifted back. "So cute." I let out a silent breath of relief. Then her thoughts continued. "So adorable. I want to kiss him." I wanted to keep listening, but Valerie turned and left the room. The moment she stepped out, I finally relaxed. Exhaustion washed over me, and in my half-conscious state, someone fed me hangover soup. I mumbled, "Leo, it's too bitter. Give me a coconut candy." The hand feeding me paused. When I opened my mouth, a sweet coconut candy was pressed against my lips. As I drifted off, my lips brushed against their fingertips. The sweetness filled my mouth, and I curled up under the blanket. "You really are my best friend," I muttered. "Remember to request leave for me tomorrow. I've been living in constant fear lately. I'm exhausted." Receiving no reply, I succumbed to my drowsiness and fell asleep. I stayed home for several days. I kept logging into my alt account, expecting a friend request from my online girlfriend, but there was nothing. I felt a pang of disappointment, but remembering she was Valerie, I understood. She was a wealthy heiress, and I had dared to block her. She had probably moved on to someone new. Today was Monday. To avoid her, I planned to extend my leave. but a message in the company group chat made me hesitate. CEO Valerie, it is a beautiful day today. Anyone who comes to work will receive triple pay. The once dead group chat instantly erupted. I'm already at my desk, and let me be clear, it's not about the money, it's because I love my job. Job satisfaction makes me happy. Oh. Richard even tagged me mockingly. At Kyle, make sure to rest up at home. I'll take that triple pay off your hands. The CEO won't be angry, right? Of course not. Their exchange infuriated me so much that I bolted straight to the office. I sat at my desk. No one was going to stop me from earning my keep. While I slacked off, Valerie occasionally walked past my desk. Just as I was about to ask her what she wanted, she called me into her office. She sat behind her desk, her expression unreadable, but seemingly laced with anticipation. Kyle, do you know why I called you in? I scratched my head. I don't know. Don't tell me you're trying to back out of paying me triple? Even though I came in late and planned to leave early, you've already docked my triple pay. You can't touch my base salary. The fleeting hope in Valerie's eyes instantly died, replaced by utter speechlessness. I strained to hear her thoughts, but my power had cut out again. Valerie stood up and approached me step by step. She got so close I could hear her breathing. Right outside her blinds, coworkers were constantly passing by. They could easily see inside if they looked. Her alluring voice whispered in my ear, "Do you know why I said today is a beautiful day?" I was so tense my toes curled in my shoes. I racked my brain. If today was some special occasion, the only thing I could recall was that today was the anniversary of our in-game marriage. But since discovering she was my boss, I had divorced her character and deleted the game. Surely she didn't mean that, right? After all, I was the one who had forced her into that virtual marriage back then. Seeing me stammer, Valerie gritted her teeth, a trace of hurt in her eyes. Kyle, you really only care about money. Just as I was about to defend myself, the door burst open. Valerie, who is this loser? Logan pushed his way inside, physically separating me from Valerie. Who are you? Do you have any idea that today is the day Valerie and I go public? Logan was covered in designer brands, clearly a wealthy young heir. I immediately raised my hands to show I hadn't touched a single hair on Valerie's head. My apologies, young master. CEO Valerie was just insisting on using me for a rehearsal. She wanted to practice how she should hold you when you arrive, so you can get a clear view of her beautiful face. Perhaps my explanation was too absurd. Valerie looked displeased. What are you doing here? And don't yell in my company, especially not at him. Being treated so coldly by her, Logan's eyes welled with tears. If I hadn't shown up, I wouldn't have caught you acting so cozy with this pretty boy. Pretty boy? Was he talking about me? I leaned in close to Logan and whispered, Young Master Logan, you've got it all wrong. Someone like me, even if Valerie went blind, she wouldn't look at me. Logan sneered. At least you know your place. He turned back to Valerie. Our parents said they are announcing our engagement tonight. I had no desire to get caught up in their drama, so I turned to leave. But the gaze boring into my back made my skin crawl. Kyle, are you really just going to walk away? Valerie's voice sounded deeply hurt. I immediately got the hint, politely drawing the blinds shut for them. Before stepping out, I gave her an encouraging thumbs up. Good luck, CEO Valerie. Win over young Master Logan, and the whole company will prosper. Leaving the office, my cheerful facade crumbled, replaced by a sudden wave of emptiness. So, the beautiful day Valerie was talking about was actually about Logan. As I slumped at my desk, Richard came over to rub salt in the wound. Kyle, look at you, looking like you lost your soul. Did CEO Valerie chew you out? See? Young Master Logan is the only one who deserves to be with her. He's a real heir. I scoffed, Yeah, high society. I've got no drive anyway, I just want to slack off. With all this buzzing in my ear, My slacking mood was thoroughly ruined. I decided to resign. When I told Leo, he looked incredibly disappointed. Kyle, where's that online keyboard warrior energy you usually have? I clung to his leg. Buddy, didn't you say you'd back me up if I quit? Leo picked at his ear. Did I? Don't make things up. Under my relentless begging, he finally began to analyze the situation. Look, we're best friends, right? You visit my parents all the time. I nodded. And my aunt and I are family, which means you two are bound to cross paths eventually, right? I nodded again. So instead of risking her finding out on her own, you should confess. At least that way, you might survive with your dignity intact. My eyes widened. Is it really that serious? Leo sighed. You don't understand. My aunt takes relationships very seriously. My grandfather is forcing her to marry Logan, but she hasn't agreed because of her online boyfriend. And that boyfriend is you. Persuaded by Leo's logic, I decided to pack my things, plan my resignation, and then confess. Worst case scenario, I'd take my savings from my years of slacking off and skip town. But before I could submit my resignation, Valerie suddenly announced a company hiking trip to the suburbs. The destination was a famous scenic spot with expensive tickets. I immediately decided to postpone my resignation by a few days to enjoy the free trip. When everyone got off the bus, Logan was already waiting there. Valerie, if you get tired of hiking later, I can carry you, Logan said, reaching out to get closer to her. As I was busy calculating how much money I could make selling snacks, I suddenly felt someone approach. Under my innocent gaze, Valerie cleared her throat. Hey, do you have any water? Right here. Customer service at your service. Ignoring Logan's murderous glare, I promptly pulled a bottle of mineral water from my massive backpack. Valerie seemed completely captivated by my smile, but before she could speak, I held up a payment QR code. CEO, you know how expensive tourist spots are? So, chime. My phone notified me of a $100 payment. My smile grew even wider. If you want anything else to eat, just let me know. Realizing I was only smiling at her for the cash, Valerie's face grew cold. She aggressively drank half the bottle and held the empty plastic bottle in her hand. Biting her lip, she tossed it into a nearby trash can. But a few minutes later, out of the corner of my eye, I saw her quietly fish the empty bottle back out. The way she wanted to throw it away but kept it out of pride was almost endearing. What a responsible citizen, not wanting to put extra work on the janitors. On the way up the mountain, because I treated every coworker fairly as a snack vendor, Logan finally let his guard down. After all, I was just a hard-working businessman. I clearly had no time for romance. Hey, Kyle, I'm a bit thirsty too. Got anything? Of course. I pulled out a sweet milk drink. Young Master Logan, I'll give you this one at half price. Drinking it for the first time, Logan's eyes widened in sheer amazement. Wow, I misjudged you. Charging me only $30 for this, you're a good guy. He figured that since I charged Valerie $100, but only charged him $30, there was no way I had feelings for her. Receiving the cash, I put on a solemn face. I just want to make sure everyone has something to eat when they're hungry. I just wanted to take this chance to fleece some rich folks. What bad intentions could I possibly have? Believing I was a saint, Logan redirected his annoyance toward Richard. Richard kept trying to slide next to Valerie, only to be scared off by her increasingly icy glare. By the time we reached the summit, I was panting heavily. I sat on a bench, looking at my phone's balance, smiling happily against the sunset. As everyone took photos, I began to worry. Less than half of the snacks in my bag had sold, and I would have to carry them all the way back down. Before I knew it, Valerie sat down next to me. I can carry it for you, she said, her face still cold as she reached for my heavy backpack. I jumped up to reclaim it. Hands off. This is my livelihood. My reaction was a bit too dramatic. Valerie let go, and I took a step back, only to twist my ankle. Ow, it hurts! Valerie immediately rushed to inspect my foot. I'm sorry, Kyle. I just wanted to help you carry your bag. I didn't mean to. For a brief moment, I saw pure panic in her eyes. Could a capitalist actually empathize with a worker? As she gently massaged my ankle, I barely registered the way she had just addressed me. Because of my injury, our group's pace slowed down significantly. Valerie told the others to head down first, while she helped me walk to a clinic at the base of the mountain. Seeing me tearing up in pain, Logan tag-along lectured. CEO Valerie, this is a workplace injury. Did you buy insurance for Kyle? You have to. His sudden change of attitude baffled me. The trek down was much easier. Leaning against Valerie, I suddenly heard a soft sigh in my ear. What a blockhead my Kyle is. Oh no, was I hearing her thoughts again? Before I could process it, she continued. Kyle feels so warm, I wish I could lean on him forever. I really loved hearing her call me my Kyle. Did she already know who I was? At the clinic, Valerie stepped out to coordinate the group's evening plans. I called Leo. Hearing that my ankle had swollen to the size of a pig's trotter, he burst out laughing. Stop laughing, I think my cover is blown. Leo immediately stopped laughing. Seriously? For real? Yeah, and young Master Logan's attitude toward me did a complete 180. Leo was incredibly fast. To get a front row seat to the gossip, he drove straight to the clinic. And then what? Spill. I grinned. And I made a killing selling snacks on the mountain. Leo flicked my forehead. Are you stupid? If you just get my aunt to fall in love with you, all her wealth will be yours anyway. I sighed, signaling that it wasn't that simple. But I didn't tell him that Valerie seemed to genuinely love me. As for my superpower, I had figured out the pattern. I could only hear her thoughts when we were physically close. That evening, the company gathered in a private dining room for a banquet. Since I was on medication, I couldn't drink, so I sat in the corner sipping juice. Richard was in high spirits, constantly offering drinks to Valerie, and she didn't decline. But why did her eyes look so hurt whenever she glanced at me? Logan and Leo, who were already buddies, kept staring at me as if trying to drill holes through my head. Leo whispered in disappointment, seriously. If you don't make a move, my aunt is going to get snatched away. Logan chimed in. Yeah, exactly. I've already backed out of the race, so what are you scared of? You could easily take down a guy like Richard with one punch. Logan had completely given up on the arrangement. He and Valerie were supposed to be a business marriage. A business marriage meant, I don't particularly like you, but I can tolerate you for the sake of our families. But after being flat out rejected by Valerie, Logan had used some connections to investigate his rival, only to discover her mysterious online boyfriend was actually me. And when he found out, I was sitting there smiling like an idiot under the sunset, holding the cash he had paid me for a sweet drink. Since he had eaten my food, he felt inclined to help. So that's how it is. I'm not going to fight you for her, Logan said proudly, raising an eyebrow at me. Fine, I'm going for it. Fully brainwashed by the two of them, I prepared to make my move once everyone was tipsy. But before I could even stand up, someone blocked my path. Our colleague Lauren stood there holding a bouquet of flowers, giving me a flirtatious look. Kyle, I like you. Will you be my boyfriend? You can handle earning the bread, and I'll handle being pretty. If we're together, our life will be so free and easy. What kind of delusional, overconfident speech was this? I'm sorry, I already like someone else. My flat refusal shattered her confidence. Stop pretending. If you don't like me, why do you always steal glances at me in the office? I'm beautiful, so it's only natural you'd desire me. I'm giving you a chance to have me now. I felt like throwing up. Richard walked over to play peacemaker. Kyle, I think Lauren is a good catch. Why don't you give her a shot? I took a deep breath. Give her a shot? Get lost! Can you two act a little less cheap? I twisted my ankle. I didn't lose my voice. Just because I hadn't lost my temper in a few days didn't mean they could treat me like a pushover. Losing her mind, Lauren reached out to grab my arm. Kyle, you're just speaking out of anger. I don't believe you. Let's go talk outside. Before Logan and Leo could step in, someone grabbed Lauren's wrist. She lost her balance and fell to the floor, taking Richard down with him. Valerie stood before me, her sleek dress accentuating her imposing posture. Who gave you the right to think you're good enough for Kyle? If you don't want to work here anymore, pack your things and get out. Lauren burst into tears of fright. The rest of the room fell dead silent, staring in shock. Meeting Valerie's gaze, I swallowed hard. What should I do now? Oh no, I think I scared Kyle. Her inner thoughts drifted into my mind. In the next second, she bit her lip, grabbed my hand, and dragged me out. Whatever. Even if I scared him, I can just coax him later. I snapped out of it, frantically waving at Leo and Logan. Help me! But the two of them just stood there, looking like satisfied spectators. Leo stepped up to handle the crowd. All right, everyone, nothing to see here. Keep partying. Where's the accountant? On behalf of my aunt, write up the severance pay for these two. Logan patted Leo's shoulder. Not bad, Leo. You're getting pretty reliable. Leo grinned proudly. Of course. Inside the car, I sat in the back. Valerie leaned close to me, her voice trembling slightly. If I hadn't stepped in, would you have said yes? Yes to what? I don't even like Lauren. Valerie seemed to let out a sigh of relief, turning her head away. You're not allowed to like anyone else. Otherwise, I'll be really sad. Under the streetlights, I could see her eyes were red and watery. So, I started. When did you figure out it was me? Valerie leaned against my shoulder, her voice incredibly soft. Do you remember the night I drove you home when you were drunk? Still holding a grudge, I turned my head away. You called me an idiot in your head. Valerie quickly turned my face back to meet her eyes, apologizing without hesitation. Kyle, I was wrong. I didn't know my online boyfriend was you. Normally, when Leo asked me to drive you, I would have refused. But for some reason, I agreed. The moment I saw you drunk, my heart skipped a beat. It felt exactly like the day you first agreed to be my boyfriend. And then, I met Dumpling. My eyes widened. But I never posted pictures of Dumpling online. She gave me a mysterious, dazzling smile. That is a secret. Unless what? Valerie didn't speak. She looked at me with deep affection, maintaining her cold beauty facade. But her inner thoughts were screaming in excitement. Unless Kyle lets me kiss him. Hubby is so cute. His lips look so soft and kissable. No, I have to control myself. Hubby likes me elegant and dignified. I suddenly remembered when we first started talking online. We had asked about each other's ideal types. I had said I liked sophisticated, elegant city women. She had said she liked shy, puppy younger guys. Since then, both of our online personas had gradually morphed to fit those ideals. That was why I hadn't dared to confess. I was terrified she would hate the real, chaotic me, resulting in losing both my love and my job. But now, I threw caution to the wind, leaned down, and captured those red lips. Valerie smelled of the perfume I had gifted her. In her eyes, I could see my own reflection. Her gaze turned sultry as she wrapped her arms around my neck, deepening the kiss. In that moment, her mind held only one clear thought. I'm so happy! Hubby loves me! The very next day, Valerie made our relationship public. As the heiress of the Vance family, she posted on her social media, introducing me to the media. Within days, the internet knew the icy female CEO of the Vance family was a total fool for love. Faced with haters online, Valerie personally responded, There are so many rich people in the world. Why would he only choose to gold dig me? Because he loves me, obviously. One day, I posted a photo of Dumpling on my social media with the caption, "Dumpling's new outfit." As soon as it went up, someone liked it. I didn't usually check my followers' profiles, but out of curiosity, I tapped on the user. The profile was completely blank, following only 2 people, me and Leo. Even with my toes, I could guess who it was. I began checking all my social media platforms, even secondhand shopping apps. Sure enough, on every single app, there was a burner account belonging to Valerie, silently following me. As public discussion about us grew, the Vance family couldn't stay quiet any longer. Valerie's parents requested to meet me. The moment I saw Mrs. Vance, practically dripping in jewels, I was almost blinded by her accessories. I expected her to give me a cold reception, even preparing myself for the classic, "Here is $10 million, stay away from my daughter" speech. But in the next second, I caught her inner thoughts. How do I look? I hope this outfit doesn't embarrass my daughter. Honestly, my daughter has great taste. Her boyfriend is quite handsome, just like my husband. Mr. Vance patted her hand gently. "Stay calm, stay calm." His inner thoughts, "Damn it, I knew my haircut was a disaster. On second thought, Kyle's hairstyle looks pretty good. I'll have to ask him where he got it cut later." I turned to look at Valerie. She sat there with her usual calm, stoic face. But in her head, she was whining. "I want to hug hubby so badly. The kiss in the car earlier wasn't nearly enough.